number, there's gonna be that one person that's like, you know what, fuck this guy, I'm unsubscribing just to piss you off. Now you need two more, bitch. Like,
if you were that guy, fuck you. If any of those guys are listening to this particular episode, fuck you. So what up, motherfuckers? This is Pics or It Didn't Happen. I am Fatz King. Otherwise, you can know me as the Jew and/or Jew Bag. I am always joined by my brother, the Yeti. He is the sniper behind the camera for some of the dopest shots in the underground you're going to see. And we're joined by a fan of the show on top of being a dope-ass musician and an MC. We're joined by Stray from Sky Swamp Orange. We were lucky enough to lock in Novels and your boy Ronnie, but now we got you, and this one's going to be dope.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it turns out it's really hard to get a bunch of people at the same time. It's
No.
It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, absolutely. I have fucking figured that out. If it's a band project, like we were lucky enough to get Fams and the Hooligans one time. I guarantee you this shit will never happen again. If we do, it's going to have to be like in person.
But yeah, you just catch them in the basement at the same time.
Speaking of that interview, you can go catch that on our YouTube channel, Fams and the Hooligans. We talked about a whole bunch of 2 and the 6 shit. But before we actually get into the meat of this interview, and that's talking to you, I wanted to talk to you first. There was an incident that happened at Camp Zool that I've been waiting to talk about, but I wanted to have you on camera before we talked about it. After I fucking proposed to my girlfriend at the end of Mad Max's set, I was unfortunate enough I missed your guys' whole set except for one track. But when I got there, you and I exchanged a look that can only be described as "let's fuck this fucking room up." I got my own entrance music into a mosh pit for the first time in my life. It felt like it. It was pretty fucking cool. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Hell yeah, bro. I was counting on you, man. The room was a little stiff at times, you know. It's like, I understand it's, you know, people's first time seeing you and they're kind of unsure of like what the fuck is going on and stuff. But I knew I could count on my mans here to just start fucking shit up in the pit. So hell yeah.
I apologize that I was late. I had business I had to take care of.
Oh yeah. Dude, how dare you fucking get engaged and miss my set? Like,
Be more considerate with your schedule, dick.
Yeah.
That was the only overlap. All fucking weekend, that was my only overlap. I'll say that. It was like, I tried so hard to make sure everything worked the way it needed to. But I feel like it had to happen the way it did. You guys ended up getting booked to main stage. How great was that exposure? Like, I'm sure you guys walked away with a lot of new fans after that performance.
Oh, it was great, man. Like, we were super thankful to the whole like LLE team and, you know, Rick especially for making that happen. It kind of came as a surprise to us because we were, you know, originally scheduled for second stage out there, and we missed day one just because we were traveling. You know, it took us like 15 hours to get there, so you know, but we kept seeing pictures and stuff of the second stage, and I was like, all right, you know, this could go one way or another, but you know, we were just happy to be playing and whatnot. And then Rick hit us up at like 2 a.m. and was like, hey, you're playing main stage. And I was like, oh, sick. You know, so, but definitely got to rub elbows with some cool dudes and connect with a lot of artists and fans. And so, yeah, big ups to Zool and those guys for allowing us to do that, man. Super appreciative.
Yeah, that's kind of the common theme for the last couple episodes. I apologize if that bothers anybody, but Camp Zool was an event. It changed it changed things. It changed things.
Hell yeah.
And we have to talk about things before camp, and now we have to talk about things that happened after it. And that's kind of where we're at with this. So again, if anybody out there, if it bothers you that we keep talking about this event, I don't give a fuck.
I'm out.
You know what I mean? It's like that's how it goes. But so I wanted to talk to you specifically because Novels had informed me that like he wasn't like you guys. A lot of the band members weren't quote unquote into the underground / juggalo scene, but you were. So that is a better conversation for our show. I'll go ahead and I'll say that. That's no disrespect to anybody, but that's just how it is. So I want to ask, how did you find underground / ICP / whatever? What you as a younger individual brought you to the wicked shit, as we all say?
Well, I guess that's a long story, but
We got
I
time.
I pretty much, my second concert I ever went to was when I was like 15, and it was ICP, and it was like Hallowicked '07, something like that. It was ICP, Necro, Boondocks, and all that stuff. And I was just like, I went with some homies to it, and I fell in love with that stuff. But pretty much, I kind of got into this like very similar to like how everybody else did, where it was, you started out in the Juggalo scene and you kind of expand a little bit out of there. Like I was really into like the Mission Infect stuff growing up.
Yup.
That was really influential. I was just talking with Max about that, how like, I was like 16 sitting in high school bumping Sick Hop and stuff, and here we are, like years later and stuff, and getting to rub elbows with him is an honor and stuff. And
That's
but
the
yeah,
collaboration I'd love to hear, by the way.
stay tuned. Stay tuned. I can't speak
but
up.
anyway,
But yeah, man, it was pretty much, like I got into all that, and then I just became obsessed with everything underground, dude. And I just started digging, and then I got into more more East Coast kind of stuff like Jedi Mind Tricks, Army of the Pharaohs,
yep.
La Cosa Nostra, all that kind of stuff. I grew up bumping like a lot of the sub noise stuff, like KMK and Big B and all those dudes. And I just pretty much loved it all, strange music, all that shit. And it's always just kind of been my forte. Like I always like to say, I'm a fan first and stuff. And, without half these dudes and all the OGs before me, man, I wouldn't even have probably like half the, style I do in my, music and whatnot. So I give a lot of props to those dudes.
So
Yeah, that's
you said that being able to grow up on these guys and now being able to rub elbows and be able to actually meet these guys and do business with them. One thing that I've noticed within the industry is becoming more common is these artists that have been around a while are more accessible now and doing a lot more feature work with some of these up and coming artists. My question for you is, do you think that is a good thing, or does it cause some, I guess, devaluing to those bigger artists? Because any small artist, good or bad, typically
can pay for a feature.
Yeah, and it doesn't make that track good, but that track will get somebody to at least try it because it has that name attached.
I want to say yes and no to that. Like it's a good and a bad thing. It's I'm not gonna name names, but I think we all see that a lot of this like buy a feature from me kind of stuff is very like not behind the curtain anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very upfront where like even the fans are seeing it, and it kind of like, at least for me from like a fan perspective, if I see somebody who's kind of up and coming that I'm fucking with, and then they kind of have a feature with, you know, certain people from a duo in the underground here, I'm kind of just like, well, that's cool. Like you and 20 other people paid, X amount
Right.
of money.
At one time, that feature used to be like, oh yeah, you got that feature. Oh yeah. But now
Yeah.
we know you shelled out about $1,000, and now the problem is now what happens if they outclass you? What happens if you don't look as good on your own song that you now paid for these quote unquote professionals to be on?
Well,
Is that something you ever worry about? Like you worked with Gibby, and I'm not saying whether anybody did or didn't, but is that a thought or a fear you go in? You're like, is this guy going to be better than me?
I mean, I feel like with me, well, first off, I'm gonna just put this out there. I don't pay for features. Like I'm the kind of person, I just want to like earn it and stuff. Like I'd rather be in a room with somebody who wants to work with me just as much, rather than just trying to like skip the line, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got dudes like Twisted out here, like big inspiration to me and stuff. And it's like there's a lot of advertisements. You can cop yourself a verse or something from these dudes, and it's no disrespect to them or their hustle or anything. It's just kind of like, man, I don't want to like shove out a bunch of money for somebody who probably couldn't give two shits about the track in general, and they're probably just giving me a throwaway verse on something. It's like I'd rather like sit down, get to know you as an artist and as a person, and then let's create something. And that's like that track with Gibby that came out like super organic. Like we just started talking to each other, and we both had like a mutual respect for each other, and we were like, yo, let's cook something up, you know. And me and Gibby got a lot of cool stuff in the works in the future too. But
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, well then I guess the next question I have is, did you start out knowing that you wanted to be like, okay, so I mean, I'm kind of high, so I gotta find my words properly. The way the music you guys perform is, and I know I'll sound like a fan when I say this, but I don't give a fuck because I am a fan. It is genreless. You can't say it's one specific thing, and that was something that Ronnie and Novels had said you guys really pride yourself on it, and I see it in every track. You guys have so many different genres and different types of subgenres of music that just clash together. And my question is, did you intend to be an MC? Did you intend to be a singer? What was your idea that got you to be like, I would like to be a musician?
um I think for
A lot of
me,
words.
I you know, I always like hip hop was my first love growing up, you know. And I always loved rapping, and but I always kind of had a weird idea of like I didn't feel comfortable calling myself like a rapper or anything like that.
Right.
But I mean, and that's not to sound pretentious or anything like that. It's just I don't know. It's just like I feel like there's a lot of people that put labels on themselves, and it's just not warranted with certain things. But with us, it was kind of like, you know, as they previously explained, it's kind of like we're all into different types of music, you know, and it's just kind of like I don't think we really even think too hard about it half the time. It's
It
not
just
like
kind of happens.
it's like, yo, like nobody's coming up to be like, Stray, you need to bust the 16 on this part, and then it's gonna flip up, and you're gonna do like Novel's gonna do some screaming over here. It's kind of just like we just kind of just roll with what feels natural, because if you're forcing it too much, it's not going to be genuine really. And um I don't know, I might be getting sidetracked, but it's just kind of
No,
like
no, no, it's cool. It's cool. I like what you're talking about.
you know, it's just I think we just try to just take the things that we like, because I mean if you grab anybody's like phone or their iPod, whatever they're listening to music on, it's not going to be one type of music most likely, you know. So it's like, and it's the same with us. I mean there's days where I absolutely hate listening to anything hip hop related, you know, because I'm burnt out on it, or like I don't want to listen to anything metal or that. Like I've been in weird moods lately. I'll be listening to like jazz or like outlaw country or something like that, you know. It's just, you know, whatever kind of mood you're in. And that's, you know, if there's days where, you know, I'm in the studio working and I feel like, you know, man, I just want to tear these motherfuckers up on a track, you know, and just want to rap my ass off, like you know, I'll just go for it. But if, you know, I don't consider myself a singer really, but you know,
You can sing.
I
You
try
can
my
sing
little
like a
harmonies.
motherfucker.
I appreciate it, but you know, I try my little harmonies here and there, and you know, sometimes it just feels good. I just try to do what, you know, feels right, you know, depending on the song. And you know what, I'm big on my lyrics and stuff, so it's really like kind of whatever like I feel like conveys the most emotion based around those words is kind of what I'm gonna go for. Like if we're real angry, like you're gonna hear a lot of screaming, you know, like it's just what it is.
So you guys, I like that approach that you take it on a track by track basis on what the song's gonna be.
Right.
So to add on to sort of that train of thought there, you mentioned that you just sort of you got into it at a young age and you just sort of started working at that. Has there been anything or anybody that has sort of tried to knock you off of what you're trying to do? I know you know everybody has adversity. I specifically like not that I can rap or sing, but I can,
Neither, fucking neither. That's why we do this.
yes, but I can recall. I think it was probably like fifth or sixth grade, and Space Jam had just came out. So I was sitting at my little, you know, elementary school desk, like, oh, I'm gonna write songs like these because that was so cool. And then a kid saw the paper. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm writing raps." Like, you can't write raps. You can't rap. What do you? And from, I was just like, "Oh, he's right." And I just stopped. So has there ever been something where, somebody approached you from that and you're just like, made you rethink what you're doing? Or did you just say, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway"?
I mean, a little bit of both. I feel like I'm the worst with like self-doubt, especially, like I'll second guess everything. Like, um, luckily I keep a good circle around me that aren't yes men really, and will tell me if something sucks, and but I think for the most part, I think we all deal with it. With any form of entertainment, whether it's a podcast, music, art, whatever, you're always going to have somebody who's like, well, what the fuck are you doing? You can't do that shit, like, but, you know, it comes back down to like what I was saying, like, if it feels right, like who the fuck is anybody else to tell you if something that you feel is wrong, and I think we're like, a lot of us are kind of on this constant like journey, like search for admiration and like accolades and stuff, that we get so caught up in like getting everybody's approval on everything that we forget to just like tap into what feels good like in your heart and in your soul,
Yeah,
and I
that
had days,
psychological validation goes a long way. I won't pretend it
yeah,
doesn't, but
like,
yeah, if I'm ever doing this because someone's telling me how to do it, then it's probably not as going to be as enjoyable for me.
right, right. And I think I've dealt with plenty of people over the years that, like when I first started making music, it was awful. Like I'm talking, it was dog shit grade, like bull, like it was awful. It was awful. And but you know what? I had like, me and my boy, we started rapping back in the day, and even though it was like everybody like in high school and stuff were being like, man, you guys are clowns, like fuck this shit, like this is awful. It's like we didn't give a fuck, because we were just having fun, man. It was like that was our thing. Some people wanted to go off and party like on the weekends, and we just wanted to, grab our little like Radio Shack mics and, just hang out and write raps all day. It was just, felt good. And so, yeah, I don't know, you just keep going. But nowadays, it's like, now that we've kind of started building some traction, when people, I see like little chit chat where, you know, people talk some shit on us or whatever, it kind of just rolls off me at this point, because I'm just like,
What the
whatever.
fuck
But
are you doing? Like, what?
once in a while, there will be a comment or something that just kind of sits in the back of my mind, and I'm like, man, fuck that motherfucker. I'm gonna go write like the illest shit I can right now. Like, it just, sometimes it fuels the fire, and some days it doesn't.
Hmm. All right, so I have a question pertaining to the where you originally started. Have you always been Stray, or did you have another name that you performed under at one time? Because
Yeah.
I've
What's your
seen how there's
secret identity?
I guess I'm kind of asking that shit. I didn't even think it was like that. Damn, I'm asking to see the phone booth that Clark Kent changes in.
Mm. Well, I mean, I used to rap under the name Shaggy Two Dope. I did this thing where I painted my face and stuff, but
Uh, uh,
you know, it didn't really catch on.
right.
So, but
You and your kind of fat, kind of not fat friend.
yeah, yep. Actually, it was just me from different angles. We just kind of edited the photos, like, so it was just, yeah. No, I've had many names over the years, but nothing really worth like that you would probably know. I mean, I went by my real name, which is Noel, like for a while and shit, but Stray was kind of like my original rap name, and it just kind of like years later kind of circled back to that, and
Nice.
kind of just
So
kind of stuck.
it was always kind of supposed to be.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But you can call me whatever you want. You can call me handsome. You can call me Stray. It's up to you.
You got two options, motherfucker.
Yeah, only
I,
two.
I, I bet his mother calls him handsome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how did you link up with the Sky Swamp guys? Since this wasn't your original where you started at musically, like how did this even come about?
So Ronnie and I, we've been friends for like 15, 16 years, something like that at this point.
Yep, I get
we
that.
went to, we went to our first concert with each other when we were younger. Like we met in high school, and just always been cool with each other. He's always been like a super talented dude. Whether it was, video stuff or photography, guitar, like the man is just an all around like creative genius, but we kind of we were both doing like separate little projects at the time, um different endeavors, and I think we were both just kind of fed up with where we were at, and we just brought up this idea of like, yo, what if, we just say like, fuck all the bullshit and we just do a project together, because I was originally working on a solo project, coming out of a group at the time. This is probably about 2015 or so, and I had made this beat, and I kind of, we were just hanging out because he was doing all my music video work at the time,
Hmm.
and I showed him this beat, and I was like, "Yo, bro, I'd love to get you to just play like some guitar on this or something." And that eventually just kind of, we just kind of kept doing that, and we were like, "Yo, let's put together a project." And he he knew Novels, um, from some previous stuff that they had done or something like that, and when we were kind of putting together some of these tracks, we were like, yo, we're gonna need more people if we want to do this. Like it can't really just be like a vocalist and a guitar player, and we're just gonna like play the rest over, speakers. And we wanted to put together a band. So, um, man, I met Novels, and he was this like strange kind of emo kid wearing a little denim vest, and I was just like, Ronnie's like, man, I got this kid, he'd be perfect. And I wasn't crazy about him when I first met him. I was just like, man, I don't know about this dude. He got a denim vest on. What's going on? Like, and you know, but me and him, we ended up just hanging out one day, and I was just like, yo, bro, let's go get day drunk. Let's just go talk to each other and get to know each other. And we became like best friends after that. And that's my partner in crime right there. And then he knew Hunter from a previous band that they were in. And at the time, Hunter, he's a few years younger than the rest of us. And when we started this, he was like 17. And they were like, man, he'd be the perfect drummer. I was like, he's 17? Like, absolutely not. It's not happening. Like, we can't get into any of the bars
Can't
or
even get in any bars to play. Shit.
play shows and shit. And it was like after he turned 18, they like, I think we were all hanging out like drinking one night, and Ronnie and Novels came up to me and they're like, bro, we could keep auditioning drummers, or we could find our missing puzzle piece, and you already know what that is.
Yeah.
So we brought in Hunter, and we've had a couple other members, over the years kind of come and go, but we eventually kind of circled back to this original lineup of just the four of us. And we couldn't be happier with the music that we're making right now.
That is so great to fucking hear, because you guys look like you're having so much fucking fun when you perform. and
Yeah.
and
And
I
my brothers, dude, I love rocking with those dudes. It's like I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
and guys like you, and I always bring this up, but guys like you and fans, it proves that there is a place for full band people, or full bands in this scene, especially when they have this much talent. And I will tell anybody, if you ever have a chance to see these guys live, go fucking do it. You will leave a fan. If you don't know their music when you get there, you will leave a fan. That's just straight up.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
bro.
facts.
And shout out to the Hooligans, by the way, man. That's my brothers too, dude. I love those dudes.
So I am
So,
curious.
well,
You were
yeah, you go
talking.
first.
Yeah, yeah, you back off. So uh, with music being obviously something that you greatly enjoy and have been doing, was there any thoughts to other paths in the music industry before this sort of came together? Like, did you think, composing music for movies or working in playhouses, anything like that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I went to school for audio engineering, and my goal was just to kind of be like an engineer. Like I nerd out hardcore on that kind of stuff. And when I was in school, I did, I had started kind of producing and stuff, like little beats, just like for fun. And I got really into like the idea of kind of doing like background music and composing and like sound design kind of stuff. I was always really interested in that. And when I was in school, I got to do some music for a couple of little like short films and stuff like that. And I mean, honestly, that's something I would love to get back into, like composing and all that. I love that, just kind of because music can bring so many things to life, like in a movie or something like
Oh yeah.
that. And trying to find those like textures and those sounds and those colors and just kind of bring them together, man. So
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
that was kind of like, something that I was really trying to do. But,
Do you feel like having that knowledge when you guys eventually get to an album, when you having that knowledge, do you think that that gives you a leg up on other people who have to quote who have to pay for things like that? Because like you guys basically are a whole unit on your own. You don't really need a whole lot of help from anybody, which I guess is the dream in this independent shit we do.
yeah, man, no, we pride ourselves big time on being self-sufficient. Everything we do is in-house recording. Uh, like I said, Ronnie does all of our music videos and stuff. But yeah,
Go
man,
watch their fucking videos, by the way. Some of those are really fucking cool.
thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I definitely think it gives us a huge advantage. It definitely makes our wallets like us a lot more. You know, um, but it's I think as far as like the creative process, like it definitely helps out a lot. The fact that I can kind of know my way around, certain things like whether it's recording and mixing or producing and stuff, because it helps. I do all the production work in our songs, like all the synths and all that kind of stuff that you hear. That's me coming up with it like 90% of the time. But
I did not fucking know that.
yeah. But in recent endeavors, everybody's been kind of stepping up to the plate and adding their little sauce to the pot. So um but yeah, it definitely helps out, when I have like certain ideas where I'm like, like different things that maybe I want the vocals to do, like in a mix, or
Hmm.
little sounds and stuff. I'm like, I can kind of make it happen instead of trying to explain to like a mixing engineer, like, hey man, so like, can you make my voice go left and then make it go right and then make it sound like it's inside of a subway and then make it sound like it's in my mom's kitchen? It's like,
You, you, that's definitely something that you mentioned the wallet, but just creatively being able to do those things. I've been watching a lot of videos recently, not only on music, but as we had talked about prior with movies and things, the things that can be done with sound. I watched somebody had broke down what was a Linkin Park track, and they started breaking down stuff even after all these years of listening to their music. I never noticed because there was so much musicality that you don't really notice it, like putting things underneath at like half volume, and you just add some strings that sort of float, and you only catch a couple little notes out of the whole thing. Just and a lot of that is missing in the underground because they themselves they don't know how to do that, and that can be stuff that I would have a hard time trying to communicate doing things like that. So I can
mhm.
definitely see that group mentality making it a lot easier for you guys.
Yeah, no, and it's cool because there's things like production wise that I wouldn't think to kind of add into our stuff all the time, but like one of the guys like Hunter will come up to me and he'll be like, hey man, why don't you put like this layered with this and try that? Or like even like we were doing a recent track and Ronnie was kind of engineering me while I was in the booth, and he was like, hey man, why don't you try this kind of a harmony and like stacking your vocals like this or something. And it was things that I wouldn't think of. So it really is like a group effort in that kind of you know realm of things, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it definitely really makes the tracks bigger and really brings that fuller sound to them. So it definitely goes noticed, and it makes for some great music. You guys definitely, we're not We're not just joking around. Like, go check this stuff out. It's on Spotify.
Like, yeah, I'm seriously, like, I can't say it enough. This is not me just like bigging up somebody who's on my shit. If you go look at my Spotify playlist, you'll see their shit all over the things I listen to on a daily. Like, I can't say it enough. You guys are ridiculously talented.
Well, I appreciate that. Some of the older stuff definitely makes me cringe, but it is what it is.
I see that, but I also see the growth as an artist. I see where you guys have tightened things up and gotten better at certain things or other things. But I will say this: my favorite song comes from one of your older catalog. Prism, I must say, is my favorite song you guys do. It's so unbelievable, such a good ass fucking track, and it feels good to listen to, if you get what I mean. As somebody who listens to a lot of angry, shit screaming fucking music, it feels good to listen to that track. I smile when it plays, but not my I want to eat your face smile.
Right. It's like a lot of the older stuff kind of did have like a feel good kind of vibe to it. It was just kind of like a reflection of where we were at. We were just like some reckless kids, man. We're just running around, like drinking and partying and just making some music. And I listen back to some of those times, and it's you can hear the recklessness, like even in some of the recordings, and it brings back certain memories. But a lot of the newer stuff has kind of been a little darker, a little angrier, and that's just also
where we're at, man. It's a reflection of the life we all are living. How have you guys survived this? Oh, God, has it been 3 fucking years of this nightmare?
It's definitely been it's had its times where it's very trying. We were fortunate enough at the beginning of the pandemic. We were just coming off of some I guess I could say some pretty crazy events, and that had already had us in a really collective kind of weird headspace. And so we kind of got to work on just a bunch of demos and stuff. And luckily, the guys had laid down like a bunch of instrumental work right before the pandemic hit. So when the quarantine started, I pretty much had like this bed of music where they were just like, yo, let it rip, dude. And just like, so I kind of hibernated and just kind of wrote. But, we, just like everybody else at the beginning of this stuff, like you didn't really know like what was going on, or like, if it was safe to kind of like be around each other. And so, we adapted to everybody kind of getting like home studio setups and doing like Zoom meetings with each other, a couple times a week, and discussing our tracks, discussing like what moves we kind of wanted to make, and just kind of sending files back and forth until we could get back into our actual studio and work with each other. And it was definitely difficult, and it was confusing, and it was definitely like a shit, how long is this gonna last? Oh, it's gonna last like a month. Oh, it's gonna last 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Right.
2 years. Fuck.
So with that, everything going on there, and you talked about your older music, you're not as big a fan of it now as you were then. One of the other things that I know that can happen when you start looking back on songs, is there any particular song where you listen to it and you're like, holy crap, this was like 2003. You can tell it was written in a timed place, and it kind of has dated. I know a lot of bands try to avoid that, but is there any where you're just like, crap, I know exactly when this was written?
There is like a time capsule thing, right? That is kind of weird that like when you produce music long enough that you get that, you'll have a time capsule of parts of your life. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to get that out of my head or I was going to become cancer.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like our catalog isn't like as deep yet, to where I kind of feel that. I mean, it's because we've only been a band for about 5 years and stuff now. So, and we've only got like 2 EPs and then a gang of singles out right now. But yeah, I mean, I there's definitely certain songs that I listen to, like if it'll come on, and it takes me back to that moment and stuff. And not all of it's like good memories. Even it could be the most like positive song and stuff, but there'll be things that like once I hear it, I'm like, I know exactly what was going on like at that moment. And it kind of takes me back there. And it's weird, like even songs like you were saying Prism, and it's like Prism's a cool song, but there's, uplifting as that song sounds, there was a lot of like bullshit going on at that time. And it kind of brings up those memories sometimes for me. But, I think that's just kind of part of the game at this point.
Well, at
Now,
least
what
you
is
didn't write anything about COVID, so you don't have to worry about looking back 6 years like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
yeah,
don't
any MCs that said they're sicker
bars
than
going
COVID,
on.
that's strike one. I hate that. I can't stand that bar. I'm sicker than COVID. Please don't say that shit. That's
Yeah.
unoriginal. That's not
I
cool.
mean, it was inevitable that it was going to happen. But I don't know. There's always I remember watching like an interview. I think it was with Dr. Dre or something like that, and he said something about um, never say the year that it is in your song because you're dating it
Yeah,
automatically.
Right.
Like
automatically. Yep.
make something timeless. Like it's got to feel relevant to back then and now and stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess
Now,
I
He should
keep
have told
something
Pac
time
that.
like
Jesus.
that.
with
Hmm.
with music being subjective, person to person, is it weird when people tell you a vibe or a lyric that they completely misinterpret? Like they come up to you and they tell you that they think it means something, but you know it means something completely else. Like I guess it was something that we're talking about in the Fun Time interview, and we talked about with some other guys. Musicians and bands, you guys, you come up with your own little lingos and things that you guys say amongst yourselves, and then we as artists, we hear it and we have to interpret what the fuck what that meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I rarely get people coming up to me asking me about lyrics, which kind of bums me out sometimes because I'm like, damn, I put a lot of thought into this shit, but
Well, you
it's
heard
one
it here first, people. Ask Trey about his lyrics. He wants to hear it. He wants to talk to you about it.
well, at the end of the day, it's just I just want people to enjoy, the music. So it's however it hits you. If you're a lyrics person, if you're a music person, like, I just want, there to be a little something for everybody in there. But I I don't know if there's been specific lyrics, but there's definitely been people that have said things about certain songs of ours, and they're like, man, it's so crazy that you like, you guys like touched on this because this resonates with me because I also deal with X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, it's not about X, Y, and Z, but who am I to like tell
Tell
you?
you
Like
what you
that's
felt
a lot of
exactly.
I
things
mean, if
I
you
don't
do, you're
like.
going to spend 30 years doing it. Just ask Green Day and how much they love their damn wedding song.
Well, I always think like, I was a big Linkin Park fan growing
Same.
up, and you know, their lyrics, like especially on like Hybrid Theory and Meteora and stuff, it always felt really relatable without being specific. And I'm sure there's ways that I interpret certain songs and lyrics where they adapt a meaning to myself. But I'm sure if I met somebody like Mike Shinoda and was like, man, this song means so much to me because it's about like I think it's about this, and he's like, actually, that's about cow herding, and it has nothing. I feel like that it would kind of like ruin some of the magic that's in it,
Yeah,
and
I get what you're saying there.
uh,
Yeah.
so I think it's just as like you were saying, like music's subjective. It's also open up to like interpretation. Like I mean, there's definitely songs that are more straightforward where you're like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about right there. But
Yeah.
there's certain things where it's just like, oh, just let a fan enjoy what they feel off that music, and let those lyrics mean what they need to mean to that person, because that's in my opinion what the power of music is. It's just like it's whatever you want it to be. It's like magic.
Good answer. Uh, Now we've took a lot of your time, and I only have a few more questions. I got to get out. You
Bro,
also
all day I'll talk to you all day.
that's so awesome, man. You also you do a lot of side work with just you as an MC, without the band. and it's cool that you have that second artistic outlet. Do you see yourself having always gonna always be doing that? Like, is this always just gonna be something that's just gonna be there?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I just kind of I'm just like I'm a lunatic, dude, and I use kind of writing as like a therapeutic kind of sense. Like if I don't write or something for an extended period of time, I kind of go a little stir crazy because I'm not always the best at. I know this sounds kind of ironic being like a vocalist and stuff, but like I'm not always the best at like voicing um like emotions and stuff like that, and I find it easier to write it than I do to say it all the time. So
Yeah,
um I'm just kind of always writing, and with the Sky Swamp stuff, it's like we've been taking our time with a lot of stuff, and I know it's been taking a gang, but we're gonna have some announcements very very soon coming down the pipeline. But there's a lot of like layers and density um and give and take with the Sky Swamp stuff, because it's a very much like we were saying, like a group effort, where if it's not unanimous amongst the four of us, then we don't do it, and
yeah,
that's sometimes because you're just like, man, I love this idea, and somebody's like, well, it sounds like shit. Like, and or like they don't want their name attached to something, and it is what it is. But yeah, I just really kind of, I've always just been writing, my solo stuff, but really this year alone, I just kind of kicked it into overdrive and was just like, man, I'm just gonna do what I want. I'm just gonna drop singles here and there, like, and the same with Novels. Like, he works on his solo music as well, and we just kind of want to have a lot of just stuff flowing out of our camp at all
just
times.
content
Like,
at all times. Yeah,
yeah,
I get that.
yeah,
Makes it real hard to forget a motherfucker if you're always giving them something.
yeah, exactly. And it feels good just to like get stuff out and just keep it going, because it's like we've seen a lot of growth in like our fan base this past year, and and it's strange when people are like, oh man, well, I'm more of a fan of your solo stuff than the band stuff, and I'm like, well, that's cool. It's like there's a little bit of everything, for everybody. But if you like my solo stuff, then you might like the band stuff, because it's like that element of me doing the rapping and stuff is in there, and it's, yeah, just little sprinkles of everything, so. But
Yeah,
I
no,
definitely
exactly.
on continuing. There'll definitely be a solo project at some point. I kind of teeter back and forth between what I want to do with things, but I try to keep a lot of ammo stacked at all times, pretty much.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah.
Another thing, and it was the last track you just released on the solo thing, and it's something that we talk about a lot because it's something we believe in. It's mental health,
Mm.
and a track that you just did, and the track that Fam's released on his solo with Anxious, and it takes a lot to bear that part of you onto in front of, or God knows how many fucking people you guys actually have heard these songs. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot to come to this and bear your soul that way. And I just wonder, is it therapeutic at the end, or do you sometimes feel like maybe you've said too much or anything like that? Like,
I sometimes it's like I said, I could be the worst with like self-doubt and stuff like that, but I with that particular track, it was kind of, I'd been sitting on that for a little bit. I recorded it a little earlier this year, and but that was one of those tracks that kind of came about in about a half hour. I just kind of wrote and then just banged it out at my home studio and just kind of called it a day on it. And but it's like, I sat on it for a while because I was kind of like, is this like kind of putting too much of myself out there, and being kind of vulnerable with people, and kind of being open to the point where like people could potentially like use certain things against me. And I guess that's sometimes a worry, but I really, like I said, I keep a very close circle around me, whether it's my girl or my bandmates and stuff, who all really support me, and push me kind of I don't know, just push myself out there more and not be such like an introvert and reclusive. And but yeah, there's times where I'm like, ooh, like especially putting out this song, I was definitely nervous to kind of put it out because it was different from the other stuff that I had been doing. And I was just like, man, I don't know if people are gonna like this or be like, damn, he's on his bitch shit. Like, but sometimes you just need to get things off. And I was saving that for a project I was working on. And it was just one of these things where, like, we were talking about songs kind of bringing up memories. And that was recorded during a very like low point that I had this year. And it's listening back to it, I was kind of just like, it was kind of putting me back in that headspace. And I was like, man, I don't want to carry that into next year with me. And I just want to get it out there and just get it off my chest pretty much.
That's yeah, it's kind of how it is, man. Like sometimes you just have to bleed it out. Like it's the only way you can ever move past something. You have to see it, you have to feel it, and you have to move past it. And that's such a hard. I know I'm saying the words that sounds so simple, but sometimes it's so fucking hard. It's more difficult than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, there's still people holding on to shit that happened like 10 plus years ago. So
yeah, well, we're not gonna fucking talk about that on this one. We talked about that one a whole bunch the last one. We ain't talking about that. About people being pissed off.
The flip side to that though is like, now that I have released it and seeing the response to it has been pretty good, I'm like, wow, this feels really good. I'm happy I did this. I'm some of the messages that I've gotten regarding the song, and people telling me like that they can relate to it. And the biggest compliment I got was somebody saying thank you to me for like speaking on something like that, because that's how they feel, and they didn't feel like there were people that kind of were speaking that. And it was an artist. I'm not going to put them on blast or anything, but it was like
No worries.
somebody saying like, yo, not many people can like speak from like the artist perspective of the pressure that sometimes the music brings, of like, well, shit, like, kind of always trying to be out there and get people's attention and shit as like aspiring artists who are still working, check to check, trying to just make it.
Yeah, I
But
get that.
mhm.
Uh, so I guess I only have a few more, but so with you guys moving forward, I know you can't tell me when we'll be seeing an album or whatever,
Hey,
but
man,
like
hit my PayPal. I'll tell you whatever you want.
you heard it here. Hit the PayPal. You'll hear any information you want.
Yeah.
What do you see the future for you guys looking like? Will there be a tour? Will there be anything like that? Are you guys just gonna kind of like lay back and watch how things play out?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. You know, we've been in talks with a few people for different things for next year, which we'll see if it comes to fruition. Fingers
Mm-hmm.
crossed. But one thing I can tell you is that there's a big old album getting ready to come out. I can't tell you the release date, can't tell you the name of it yet, because
But it is coming.
we have a certain idea of how we want to do the rollout of everything. But I will tell you that most likely within the next month, you're gonna get like a lot of info and stuff on that, and it'll be in your ears relatively soon. It is finished for the most part. Just aside from, like, some mixing kind of stuff.
That makes my that gives me cold chills. I
uh,
cannot wait to hear what you guys fucking put down.
it's been like 2 years in the making. We've poured our heart and soul into it. It's I will tell you this, it's a very angry album. It's super, super angry. It's super dark. We only got a couple features on there, but they are some devastating features. And we're extremely excited to share it with everybody. It's been so hard just kind of sitting here, because as an artist, it's like you want to keep some of the mystique and stuff. But me, man, I'm the kind of motherfucker. I'm just like, yo, I just want to tell everybody about everything all the time. I'm just like, yo, this is so cool. Like, fucking check this out. And I got a little circle of artists that we all kind of send our stuff back and forth prior to release. And you know it's cool to see like some of my artist homies like geeking out on some of the stuff and being like, yo, yes, like this is it, like let's go. And but yeah, so album is coming very, very soon, and extremely hyped to get that to you. But we plan on hitting 2022 full force and just dumping on people all year. And you know, that comes from, you're gonna get Sky Swamp stuff, you're gonna get more Stray solo stuff, you're gonna get novel solo stuff. We're just gonna try and keep it going. We're gonna um I don't know how much touring is gonna happen, just because it's like the world is weird, man. But we
Mm-hmm.
definitely on trying to do a lot of one-offs and stuff here and there. You know, if people aren't catching on, we like to pop up in a lot of places that you wouldn't expect us to kind of pop up because it's far away from where we are and
Right.
stuff. Uh,
If you're asked
uh,
again, will you play Camp 2?
oh, absolutely, man. We had the biggest like blast at Camp Zool. You know, like I was saying, Rick and the whole Long Live Evil team, man, they were so good to us, man, and um got us right at home, man. Like we felt like $1,000,000 out there. We were feeling like superstars, and it wasn't deserved at all. But we and you know, shout out to Zool, man. Those are some cool dudes, man. We got to chop it up with Joe Black a little bit, and he said a lot of nice things to us. So definitely would love to do Camp Zool again, and hopefully you'll be seeing some more stuff with us in that camp in the future. Shout out to Super Famous Fun Time guys; those are my guys as well.
Oh yeah,
And
they're fucking awesome.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
man, I love it. You guys did a great interview with them, man. I loved
Oh,
it.
thank you, thank
So,
you.
We were
hell yeah!
deeply worried we were
More of those
deeply
things.
worried that was going to be shit
So,
because there was people performing in the background and all.
hey, man, Camp Zool was crazy though. It was an experience.
So, all right, I think this might be my one to finish it. So, you can be in front of the beginning of when you were performing. Let's say what you were 16, 17, you think?
um, Probably first performance was like 18, something
Oh,
like that.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
18. What do you think if you could go back to that moment as you right now and talk to the 18-year-old version of you who's just starting to cut his teeth on this? What are some things you would tell him so that he could better perform? Like what are some big mistakes you could warn him about, or some things that you as an artist could tell people that they shouldn't do or should?
One, don't cup the mic. Stop it.
But it looks so cool.
It looks cool, but it sounds like shit.
You ain't Chino. Stop doing it.
Yeah. Um, Dude, the guys in the band used to give me so much shit for that too. So they'll probably love that part. But yeah, don't cup the mic. But really, I guess the biggest advice I would say is um, stop thinking that everything needs to happen right away. You know, because I think when artists can get really discouraged because the whole thing is an uphill battle. You know, it's you're just constantly fighting for that next spot on the hill. You know, and I think a lot of people, uh, you know, I see like a lot of entitlement with a lot of artists, and there's artists in the scene that I see a lot of entitlement in, and I think that they could take some time to just breathe and take some time to learn and grow as a person, because you could be the dopest artist in the world, but guess what, you're going to run out of shit to talk about if you're not living life at the same time, you know.
Yep.
But it's important to have a good work ethic, but if you're, you know, your real life is not, you know, in a good spot, you're not going to do anything. And I think as a young teenager, I was very much, you know, a hothead, and you know, being like, man, I deserve this shit, I deserve this shit. Well, I didn't deserve that shit. You know, it's like you got to put in the work, you got to pay your dues. We're still paying dues, you know, and here I am, like 10 years later, I'm 29, about to be 30. It's like I'm still out here, like in the trenches, trying to fight my way through, you know. And it's not to get discouraged, but always to remember to have fun with it at the same time, because if it just becomes solely about work, it's not going to be fun, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of that ties directly to social media and how much content we consume every day. Because, first of all, most of these people are lying. They don't live like that. Know that it's not real.
No, they don't. They
And
don't.
but they're
It ain't.
comparing. They've been, building their channel and their subscriber base for 10, since the beginning of YouTube. You got these guys like PewDiePie, whatever the hell that guy's name is, with millions of viewers, but they've been around since the beginning of this shit. You're 2 years in. It's not going to happen today. Just calm down.
Right. It's things don't happen overnight. And I mean, it comes back to like, we also live in this music scene, especially. It's like what we were saying before about how a lot of like the business dealings are kind of done out in the open for everybody to see.
Like they didn't used to be.
Yeah, it's like, nah, dog, nobody asked you to be the opener on that show. You paid to play. It's like it's more or less like, dude, just kind of put in the work. And I see a lot of bands, especially out our way, who would always kind of complain about, well, I don't need to sell tickets to a show, like I'm the artist. And I'm like, well, okay, I agree, like, but if you can't get that many people to even come see you, then what business do you have being on that show? You haven't earned that slot. So it takes time. And it like I said, it's easy to get discouraged after amount of time. And you see, like you're saying with social media, it's like everybody's always looking like they're popping, because we only post the good shit. Nobody's posting those days where it's like, man, I don't have any ideas. Man, I'm broke. I got bills to pay. Like, no one's talking about all that, but that's the shit that we're all really going through.
Yeah.
We've kind of gotten into this age of just like everybody thinks they're cool and everybody has to become some sort of an influencer. And it's like, man, you probably hate your fucking life on the other end of that camera. Like, I don't know, man.
That's
it's
a
just kind of like
common thread.
Yeah, just keep it
he
real
ain't
and
wrong.
put in the work, man, and have patience.
So the last question that I sort of want to get out beforehand, we were talking about influencers. Have you thought about growing out some luxurious flowing red locks and maybe do some impersonations on the side, maybe some Ritz action?
Yo, shout out to my boy Nasty, because this dude always tells me that I'm like Ritz's brother or some. He told me I was like,
we love you, Nasty. That's the homie.
Told me I was Ritz with a shaved head. But nah, man, the long locks, that's Hunter's bit, man. I don't touch that, and we're trying to get that.
He does have some damn luxurious hair.
Yo, I was just talking with Whipstick, and he was telling me that he was intimidated by him because his hair was long.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's about it. But you never know. Patience, and persistence.
So, if they want to find your music on this vast ocean of social media we're all attached to, where can they find you? Where do they gotta look?
Pretty much you can find everything you need to find at skyswamporange.net. It's pretty much a hub. We've got links to all of our socials, like right off the bat on there.
Yeah, I visited the page. It's super easy. You'll find literally it's a click away. Just do it.
That's fucking awesome.
It's not cluttered. It's not complicated. We've tried to make it as idiot proof as we can. And there's links to, if you use Apple, you use Spotify, like whatever you listen to us on, and social media, we're at Sky Swamp Orange on everything. We're pretty easy to find, and we are always open to talk. So, if you feel like you want to just shoot the shit with us, one of us will probably respond to you. Can't say if it's going to be nice or not, but somebody's going to respond to you.
Buy a shirt.
Yeah,
that's the real love. Buy a shirt.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to actually. As soon as I get off of this, because I don't have anything, and I was shitty, I didn't buy any at camp. I'm gonna buy some as soon as we get off of those.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, and also we're gonna have a lot of new merch coming next month as well, in regards to other things being announced. So,
is it gonna be an ugly Christmas sweater?
Oh, dude, that would be dope, right?
People don't understand how fresh those really are and how much people really will buy them.
They're ironically coming back. Like, I don't like it, but I'm just doing it because it's a joke. But secretly, I love this fucking sweater.
Nah, when you put something dope on it, like a fucking Forever Face or one of fucking Whipsticks masks on it, people will go buy it. It's just how it is. But
You know what though? I'm not gonna do it anytime soon because one, we have like the worst luck with merch. Either our shit sells super fast or it doesn't sell at all. And I know for a fact there's gonna be motherfuckers that are like, hell yeah, man, I'd wear a sweater with Hunter's face on it. And then you know what? It's gonna be March, and I'm gonna have an entire studio full of like 100 sweaters with this man's face on it, and I'm gonna be like, hey guys, flash sale in the summertime for a sweater.
It's Christmas in July. Yay.
It's
Yeah.
Christmas.
I'd rather do a thing where we do a show and do like an ugly Christmas sweater show where you get them free if you like go to a thrift store and go buy one, and then
That's a
come
good.
to
That's
that
a
is
good ass idea
all
right
sweater.
there.
How about that?
That is a good ass idea. The last thing I want to talk about before we let you go. Word of mouth is huge for you guys right now, and I'm doing the best. We're doing the best that we can to promote
Yo,
that. But
thank you.
that's how I fucking found out about you, was word of mouth through the homie Cam and in the catacombs. That was where I found out about you. So first of all, shout out to them. We love them
Shout out.
boys over there. They let us
Oh,
post over there, so we love them boys. The homie Luke and all that shit. But do you see that this word of mouth is really working now?
Yeah, I think especially within the last couple months, we've seen a lot of traction kind of building behind our name and stuff, and I think it's all word of mouth. Especially, I think like Nasty Bash, I think was really good for us
That
because I
was a
think
real coming out party for you guys. That was like, there was a, I'm not gonna say that there was influential names, but there were a few people in the scene who really like to spread a lot of fucking good music, and the homie Scotty V being one of them, me, so the homie Nasty.
yeah,
There was a good fucking showing for you guys. Straight the fuck up.
I think a lot of it, comes down to like big shout out to Nasty and Fams, especially because I think a lot of people, especially in the scene, wouldn't really know who we are without them kind of co-signing us like real early on. It 2019 we went on tour with the Hooligans, and we didn't know each other like prior to it. We didn't even really talk that much online. It was just kind of like um I honestly forget how I found the Hooligans music, but I ended up being friends with Fams online or something, and they were like, "Man, who do you want to see us like go on tour with?" And I was like, "Me." And, like, and posted a link to our shit, and he was just like, "Shit, let's go." And we did a little tour run with those guys, man. We became really close, and um, those guys have shown us so much fucking love and really opened up like their fan base with us, and same with Nasty, and eternally grateful for those dudes. But then it's like it kind of snowballs from there, and with the catacombs popping up, with Cam and Luke showing us a lot of love like really early on, like when the catacombs like first popped off, and
Yep.
um and it's just kind of been a snowball effect from there of different artists even kind of reaching out and being like, yo, I really fuck with you guys, and I'm like, oh shit, like so and so fucks with it. Like that's kind of cool. But like in a world where like a lot of people are kind of too cool and stuff and like very about themselves, it's like
Stop that shit.
it's very humbling though, like when these bigger artists are taking to their platforms and being like, yo, you guys should check this like band out and stuff. And it's like, whoa, man, like you didn't have to do that, thank you for doing that, and I don't know, man, it's a trip sometimes, but we've definitely within the last like 3 months been just seeing things kind of moving up a lot. I think the word of mouth stuff is essential, and we're eternally grateful for anybody who um takes the time to listen to our music and just tells somebody else about it. Like that's all we could ever ask for, man. And I don't want anybody listening to ever think that we take that for granted, because if nobody's listening, dude, we're not shit. And that's the whole reality of that situation. Like we could make music till our face is blue, but what's the point, if nobody's really there to enjoy it with us, and um just kind of seeing the fan base slowly kind of bubble to this point where it's like, you know, we know people by names and we're just having like regular conversations. Like it's not always about music. Like I know you and I, we've just had like some good conversations, you know, just like just chopping it up on like some homie shit. And that's what I like more, man. I don't like where the artist has to like look down on a fan, especially at the level we're at or something like that, where it's like we really ain't shit, you know. And it's I don't know. I'd rather just kind of rock out with my homies. Like if we're at a show, it's like I don't want to be like hiding and all that kind of shit. It's like, man, I want to go. Let's go have some beers. Let's go take a shot and let's go, you know, rock out to some like great music together and shit. You know.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
guys.
that's so cool for you for being a fucking real one, bro. Straight up.
No, hey man, it's I just try to be what I wish the artists I looked up to would be. you know, you know that's it.
So definitely make sure you guys are sharing. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channels, following on all the platforms. It really does make a huge difference. Getting stuff out there, letting your friends know.
I said it again. I said it before. I'll say it again. Buy a shirt. Buy a shirt.
Definitely buy a shirt and let your friends know that that shirt is available. Let them know that the music is out there. If you're into something, let your friends know because they're probably going to like it. And that's how we keep, new music coming out. That's how we keep doing what we're doing. So definitely make sure you're doing that.
A wise man once said, support your brothers, motherfuckers. Happy birthday.
I don't know who said that.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, that's about all we got, man. Fucking, I want to say thank you again, Stray, for fucking doing this, for basically fulfilling a dream we've had since we got the first one.
Yo, thank you guys for having me, man. It's an honor. I love what you guys are doing. Keep fucking pushing it, man. I love seeing the evolution of the channel and it just getting better like each interview. And you guys are killing it, man. And honestly, I've learned about different artists that I didn't previously know through you guys. So keep doing.
That's always been one of our fucking goals, man. Is to just be a voice for this underground shit.
We don't have many goals, but that's one.
I guess. You know what? Monetization or death.
Yeah, we decided that last night.
The scene needs people like you guys who are just like tapped into the culture and just want to spread.
I might cry on that one.
And you know, I mean, it's just as necessary as the artists are. It's like you guys are the ones that kind of keep the wheel turning and let people hear like new artists and introduce them to things that they may not know about, and also offer up just fun discussions. You know what I mean? And we need to see more of that in the scene. You know.
Well, we have no intention of fucking stopping, especially if all like 15 or 20 of y'all keep listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, that's it for today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Much love, y'all.